Mike, 27F, little brother, 22M, joined a pro-life group for young men. I'm considering cutting ties. Mike, 27F, little brother, 22M, has been struggling with loneliness for years. I've told him that, if he wants to stop being so lonely, and maybe get a GF, he needs to actually do something with his life. Stop playing video games, watching anime, vaping in his room. Try to better himself as a person, and actually go outside and connect with people. Get healthy hobbies, go volunteer. Instead, he recently found meaning in the church. It is unfortunately a very right-wing church, and he has become very passionate about it. Our family grew up lightly Christian, but drifted away from religion over time. His pastor told him they've seen a new phenomenon. Lots of young men like my brother are joining the church, more than ever before, especially from nearby universities, and the church is very excited about it. They want to organize them for something meaningful. A few of those churches in the area have put together a group of young men, mostly college-aged, to defend the unborn. They're going to protest outside of providers as a big group. My brother says these young males just want to make their voices heard. But to me it sounds like an intimidation tactic against vulnerable women. I'm livid. I feel like I don't want to support or have someone in my life who does that. I know different politics can coexist, but this one is a red line for me, for some deeply personal reasons. Nuclear options available. Do I cut ties? How do I handle this? Any advice would be appreciated. Too long did not read. My struggling younger brother joined a pro-life group for young men. It's a red line for me, and I'm considering cutting ties with him. Not completely on topic, but it's crazy that the church's first thought is, let's organize these young men to attack vulnerable women, instead of doing something productive and positive together. Build a community garden. Offer free yard work for older adults. Start a board game night. Set up and do a Habitat for Humanity project. Take up camping. Support a youth sports program. Read to animals at the animal shelter. Almost anything would be more positive and team building than organizing around an enemy. That should clue him in that there might be a good church out there for him, but this one isn't it. So telling him to give up video games and anime was probably kind of short-sighted. There are groups that meet to discuss those exact things, and they could have been a good alternative to the route he ultimately went down. Okay, but gaming and anime are totally valid hobbies that many women enjoy too. There are online communities and all he could join. And finding community in church isn't a bad thing per se. It is unfortunate a right-wing one and his views are horrible, but there are a crazy amount of people holding the same views. It's not a fringe community. It's sad, but he is in that now. You can tell him honestly that you love him but cannot be in his life anymore due to his views, but that you will always be there if he wants to change. Everyone jumping ship when family members are struggling and heading in the wrong direction definitely won't make the world a better place. People don't suddenly change because they've been isolated when they already feel isolated. I think maybe you should try encouraging him to get involved with the activities he already likes instead of cutting out what he loves. If he loves gaming and anime, the vaping can stop though, that's bad for you. Then encourage him to interact with groups who like those things. And maybe try inviting him out to do things with him and take him to another church? Just some suggestions. Are you asking for advice or validation for what you want to do? Mike, 40M, wife, 39F, thinks I am abusing my niece. What do I even do? This is such a weird situation, I don't even know what to do about it. I browsed Reddit, but never thought I'd have to use it like this. This March, my wife and I became the guardians of my niece, who's 16. It was a bad situation, we had the extra room and money, and immediately took her. Now, my niece is not completely well mentally. She has a few conditions, but notably is on the spectrum. She has bad ADHD and autism. She isn't to the point of nonverbal or anything like that, but does tend to go nonverbal for hours, stims, according to her therapist, and has sensory issues. She also has bad anxiety and depression, which makes sense where she was from. This is important later. As I said, we've had her since March. She was having a great time, we helped her through the last months of her sophomore year, got her into counseling, decorated her new room for her. Everything she didn't have back home, and I felt she was thriving. My wife has known my niece since she was around 5. We dated for about 8 years before getting married in 2022. It wasn't like she was a stranger, they have a really good bond. Lately, since late July I'd say, my niece became withdrawn. She didn't really want to stay home anymore, she'd constantly leave with her friends, or would stay at her great-grandparents'. Eventually it became her not eating dinner with us, stop watching movies with us, she just withdrew. Out of nowhere. Now a thing she and my wife used to have was a shower routine. My niece has long hair, almost to her mid-thigh. She likes it long, she braids it and plays with the end a lot for comfort, her words. The issue was it was so long, she'd get overwhelmed and break down when it came time to brush it, but also would cry when we tried to talk her into cutting it. So my wife started brushing it for her, before she showers, after, in the morning, and before bed. It helps her problems and calms her words again. But now, she stopped letting my wife do it. The day that happened, my niece wouldn't give my wife the brush, and started crying when she tried to do it for her, and eventually turned into every time one of us tries to get in the bathroom to brush it, she starts yelling and hiding in the shower, and goes non-verbal after she goes to her room. Another incident was a few weeks after. My niece had an accident in her bed, and rather tell us, she stayed up, tried to wash the sheets without telling us, then broke down and cried when we saw her trying to stuff the quilts in the dryer. She will not talk to us about anything anymore. She tells the therapist she's fine, but that just can't be true. My breaking point was my wife started acting distant, before sitting me down when I got off work. She sent my niece to her great-grandparents, because she didn't want her here in case I got violent. I have never once been violent to her, by the way. She point-blank asked me if I had been inappropriate with my niece. Obviously, I denied it. She tried to tell me if I did, we could work it out if I got help, but I insisted I didn't. We argued, and she pointed out that the accident and the way she withdrew, and that she lets neither of us touch her anymore is evidence I'm doing something to her, that I'm using her autism to get an easier victim. I told her I didn't do anything, and it wouldn't even make sense, because when would I even do it? I work all day, my wife is always around me and her. My wife is also a light sleeper, so I wouldn't even be able to creep out of bed in the night, like she accused me of. Finally I told her no, I haven't, I never will, she's my minor niece we took in. But once she asked, and if she wasn't blood? I told her we were done talking and slept on the couch. Now, it's been a few weeks, we have tension. Every time one of us hugs or touches my niece, and she flinches, my wife will tell me later, you see. She's scared of touch because of what you do to her, or when my niece tells for my wife to stop trying to brush her hair, she says something similar. Anything my niece does that's a reaction. My wife tries to tell me it's because of what I do to her, and will not stop making snide remarks. She even did it again an hour ago. I'm sitting in the kitchen just thinking about this. I feel crazy over this. I'd never hurt my niece, but I don't even know how to prove to my wife that she's wrong. Where do I even go from here? Why are you not seeing that your wife is very likely hurting her? If your wife really thought you were abusing your niece, why hasn't she taken her to the hospital for a forensic exam? Your wife is weird and sketchy AF. It sounds like your wife is abusing your niece and is accusing you to cover her tracks. Document everything. Your wife is abusing your niece. Talk to your niece's therapist. Tell her your concerns, your wife's concerns, be an open book. As the comments here suggest, someone is harming your niece. Possibly your wife. Be a squeaky wheel until you find out who. The more you make it obvious that you are trying to find out what's going on and the more of an open book you are, the less it points to you. The lady death protests too much. Your wife is basically admitting to you that she's abusing your niece, and is trying to project it onto you. When was the last time you had a one-on-one with your niece? Maybe try asking her? It shouldn't be that surprising that she's suddenly stopped doing shower routines with your wife. Who knows, maybe your wife was already grooming her every time they did that together. Was your wife naked with your niece when they did those? Seems like she had a significant amount of time and close intimate access to your niece, a lot more than you. You don't think that's weird? My boyfriend, 26M, cheated on me, 25F, for $250. So me and my boyfriend have been together for about 4 years. We've had our ups and downs, but overall we have a really solid relationship. We live together and have been struggling financially a lot recently, mostly due to college debt. My boyfriend also can't work more than 3 hours per day because of several mental disorders. Our parents on both sides are not really in the picture. Well, a few nights ago my boyfriend went out without me, which is usually fine with me. According to him, he told his friends he wouldn't drink much because he needed to save up. His friends were already really drunk and told him how he's become so bland and annoying recently, he couldn't have any fun anymore, and one of them said he would give him $250 if he cheated on me. This friend has never really liked me and has often made weird comments like how my boyfriend could have done way better or how boring I made him. I know he cheated on his ex-girlfriend several times. Well, long story short, he did it. My boyfriend made out with a random girl at the bar and went home with her. The worst part is he didn't even tell me. I found out 2 days after through a "hey girlie" text from the girl he cheated with. I immediately confronted him and he owned up to everything. He cried, said he was sorry and that he just did it for the money. He wanted us to not be as stressed about money. He did buy groceries for us with it. I have been avoiding him as much as possible since then. He has been trying his hardest to make up. I don't know what to do. I feel extremely betrayed, but I believe that he really did it for the money. How can I move on from this situation? Are you kidding? He can't work for over 3 hours because of mental illness, but can go out to the bar and stay at some girl's house. Okay, I am going to be very blunt. You move on from this by moving on from him. He cheated on you. Doesn't matter the context. Doesn't matter what your money situation is. Doesn't matter what mental disorders they have. He broke your trust. Over $250. Is your trust only worth that? Because he proved that his loyalty and devotion to you is worth less than a refurbished phone. Money, no matter how much, isn't worth betraying the one you love. Period. But I believe that he really did it for the money. This is really not the excuse you think it is. Also, it means that his relationship with you is worth less than $250. The fuck? Please tell me this isn't real. Cheating is cheating, and why would you want to be with someone who's friends with such horrible people in the first place? If you stay with him, this kind of bullshit will just continue. And FFS, a lot of us with pretty serious mental health issues are able to hold down a job. People need to stop using that as an excuse, crutch to be useless. Is he getting treatment for said mental health issues? Has he had a professional diagnosis? Don't be dumb and stay with this guy. You lost me at, can only work 3 hours a day. So when he cheated for the $250, did he use protection? He can use that money to pay for your STD testing. 19F, 23M, abuse or no? Husband chokes me. Okay, so I don't know if I am overreacting or not, but my husband has gotten into the habit of choking me. Sometimes it's sexual and sometimes it's not. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm kinda a kinky girl lol, so I totally do not mind it during sex, but I feel like he should ask before doing it and make sure he's not doing it too hard. He is a 300-pound guy and I'm 130 pounds. Big difference. He's never careful. There are times when I don't want to be choked, like when I am having a bad day for example, but he will do it anyways. I'll try to tell him to stop, but he keeps saying, yeah. I know you like it though. So IDK. It's just really starting to bother me that when he does it sometimes, I actually cannot breathe. Edit another thing, I had a huge panic attack the other day and thankfully he was there comforting me the whole time. As soon as I calmed down though, he was like, damn, you make me really horny, and I straight up told him that I didn't really feel like doing sexual shit right then because I just had a fucking panic attack. He kinda ignored it though, and we ended up doing stuff. Afterwards, I felt really numb and just went to bed. But before I fell asleep he said, sorry for taking you after you said no, do you forgive me? I said yes, but like what the fuck? I just had a panic attack, man? Like, it just seems odd. And he also just jumps on top of me, which is fine, but again, he's 300 pounds. And it hurts sometimes. I keep telling him that he's hurting me, but all he does is keep saying sorry and doing it again. Edit number 2. Okay, so honestly, didn't think this post would get the attention that it has. Backstory wise, I understand that 19 is very young to get married and I believe so too. In a way, I was railroaded into this marriage. I met this guy at the job that I was working at, he was my boss. We started talking and he seemed really sweet. I've only known him for a total of 3 months now, and we dated for about 3 weeks. His entire family was pushing this marriage onto me, and I didn't want to do it, but me being me, I didn't say a word. I was sexually abused as a kid and my family that I was living with before weren't the best people either. I just cannot believe that I put myself in this situation. This guy's family is fairly rich and so is he. So in a way, I feel like I should be grateful that I'm even living with him. He likes to make a point of that too, so I feel like with that information, it makes the situation a little more complicated. I feel like I should be grateful for even getting this opportunity to live my life away from my parents, but just something does not seem right with him. Edit number 3. Hey, so I know I'm editing a lot, but again, I didn't realize his post would get any sort of recognition. In my culture, it is normal to get married after a shorter amount of time. But even so, the people in my community agreed that this marriage was extremely rushed. It was almost like I didn't have a choice. It's very hard because he does so many loving things to me and he really does love me. I know that, but I also know that the choking thing is not okay and there's something very wrong with it. It's super conflicting for me, and again, he's fairly rich, so I have a house and relatively a good life. But I can't help the feeling that I'm being so wronged in this situation. I guess I have to learn to trust my gut and all of you guys, and it's even harder because I'm Jewish, and in my community, divorce is very looked down upon. And abuse is not talked about, so this makes it so much harder. There's not many people that I can talk to about it. I'm sure I can find a friend, but it's very difficult because once again, abuse is not talked about in our communities. For the last time, it's hard because he does love me, but from the beginning, I did not love him, and I keep lying to myself and saying that I could eventually learn to love him, but the choking thing is definitely not helping with that. Abuse. Yes. Run. Men who choke are more than 100% more likely to kill their partners. I mean this with all sincerity. Get out. You are underreacting. That is abuse. And he could very easily kill you. Genuinely. I know that sounds dramatic, but it's not. He is going to kill you. A study found that women who have experienced a non-fatal strangulation incident by an intimate partner are 750% more likely to be killed by that same partner. Please leave before you become a statistic. This is not something he is doing because you like it. Leave. No means no. It doesn't matter if you like it sometimes, that doesn't permit him to do it whenever he wants. Yes, 100%. Unless it's an enthusiastic yes, it's abuse. He may accidentally, intentionally kill you. Doing it when you don't want it is abuse. Not being able to say no is abuse. Not being able to communicate a safe word if things get too rough is abuse. Run if you want to live. Kinks like this require extreme trust and communication. This is not it. Edit to add. By the way, strangulation can still lead to death up to a week later due to the formation of blood clots and other injuries. Add in the fact that it's not consensual, you're probably at an even higher risk of death.